Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. Now, I didn't do a video for you yesterday, I apologise, I did take a little break, I have to be honest. There wasn't much to report and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to keep banging on about Frank Lampard every single video because we know that is the talk of the town at the moment. But what I am going to do today is kind of round up a bit of yesterday's news and what we know today in terms of Lamps, the situation. Is his job safe? What do Chelsea need to do? What does he have to do in order to try and rectify the situation? Anyway, before we get into all of that, I want to ask you guys, if you are new, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. We've hit 50k. I've already thanked you for it. On the road to 100k. Let's do it. We can do it. We're gonna do it. So let's make it happen. Anyway, let's get into today's nitty gritty. So the last video that I uploaded, I told you guys Frank Lampard is in danger. His job is under threat. Obviously, the Manchester City result didn't help. There was an article released by The Athletic immediately after the full-time whistle, where Chelsea lost 3-1 at Stamford Bridge to Manchester City. And that outlined the board are now looking at replacements. They're not very happy. But this was before the Manchester City result actually came in. That article was ready and waiting, and the Man City result just made the situation worse. We've managed to get a little bit of information since all of that has happened, and we have a bit of clarification. What's happening with Lamps? Is his job under threat? Well, let's go and find out. Let's check this out. From Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea are not happy with the current situation, but sacking Frank Lampard immediately isn't what they are going to do. Chelsea will wait a bit and are expecting something different. Frank Lampard will be at risk if results don't change in the next matches. Chelsea are not in contact to have a new manager tomorrow morning, as Thomas Tuchel has been offered to the club. So obviously what this is outlining is the next few results are key. If that goes lopsided, if that goes pear-shaped, Frank Lampard will be out of a job. That's just as far as I've understood that. That is what I think is going to happen. I've told people in the past, Roman will not hesitate. I told you that in my last video. Don't get me wrong. We all want Frank Lampard to succeed. I'm not coming on here and saying, get him out of the club, I want him gone. No, I am saying it's looking like it's going that direction. It's looking very likely he will be out of a job. And what I'm saying is he's not helping himself with the decisions that he's making. If he does rectify the situation, absolutely fantastic. I would not want anyone to succeed more than a Frank Lampard as Chelsea manager. Come on, let's be realistic. You know, we as Chelsea fans, we see Lamps as our manager and we think, this is amazing. But you have to be realistic. If he's not rectifying the issues that are currently in front of him and he's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result and the players are not figuring it out from the instructions that they're getting from him, well, this is going to end one way and it's going to end with the manager losing his job. It's as simple as that. Now, I want a change. I want Frank Lampard to try something completely different, and that I am going to speak about in a little bit of detail towards the end of the video, so stay tuned. What we have learned from this is Chelsea are not looking at a replacement immediately, but I'm sure they have names ready to go to if they decide to. We all know that Tuchel is an option because he's available. We know that Nagelsmann of Leipzig is an option, but that might have to be end of the season. It's the same for Hasenhüttl of Southampton. We know that there are managers there that are lucrative, that are attractive, that Chelsea, I'm sure, will look at and go, yeah, he would be good for the job. But right now, we can't go for him. So we got to manage the situation correctly. And, as it says, look, we've got the next few matches. We've got Morecambe in the FA Cup. I mean, let's have it right. Even without a manager, if we lose to Morecambe, yeah, we might as well liquidate. We cannot lose to Morecambe in the FA Cup. No, there's no way. There's no way. I expect a bunch of unmotivated players that don't give a damn and are playing for free to beat Morecambe. And that's no disrespect to Morecambe, but, you know, levels. And then after that, we got Fulham in the Premier League. We got Leicester in the Premier League. That's the big one, because everyone is expecting a result against Fulham. But against Leicester, that's That's tough. That's very tough. So this is why I'm saying Lamps needs to find a new way, and I'm going to discuss that at the end of the video. As for Thomas Tuchel, he's apparently been offered to the club, and I'm sure that's his agent, that's his manager, or whatever you're going to call it, but whoever is representing him and trying to find him a new job, I am sure has gotten to the phone to Chelsea Football Club and gone, look, I know your situation is a little bit peak at the moment, but I've got a manager here if you want one. I'm sure that has happened. So, you know, Chelsea, I don't think will take any action immediately, but the next few games will decide everything. Now, there is a bit of debate in regards to Declan Rice because of the Lampard situation. We know that Declan Rice is a player that Frank Lampard wants. It's not the board. Well, just like I believe many of the other players that we've already got through the door. You know, in the past, we've looked at some signings and gone, yeah, the board have absolutely not given the manager a voice. The board have decided to go against the manager's wishes. The board have decided to get this player without even consulting the manager. I mean, we went through it with Mourinho twice. We went through it with Conte. We kind of went through it with Sarri, even though Jorginho was a Sarri signing. But we've had those issues in the past. With Frank Lampard, we know that's not the case. Every single player that's walked through the door so far has been a Lampard signing, and the board have backed him to unbelievable lengths. We know this, so we can't necessarily blame the board. The only thing that we can blame the board on is their assessment to think that Lampard was ready in the first place to be Chelsea manager. You know, that's without question. If there's one criticism at the end of this story, we'll see what happens. But if Lampard does get the chop, well, yeah, at that point, we need to turn back to the board and go, did you really think he was ready? But Declan Rice is a signing that Lampard wants. And now that Lampard's future's up in the air, I mean, you know, the board I don't think are going to take much action in regards to approaching Declan Rice unless if they fully back Lampard, regardless of results, which is clearly not the case. The next few games are vital, but we've only got the January transfer window. See, we've been put into a little bit of trouble here, you know, because if we don't negotiate with Declan Rice and West Ham now for the summer, well, we won't be able to until the summer. You know, the transfer window's open now. Unless if West Ham give Chelsea permission to speak to him, which they won't do because it's West Ham and he's one of their best players. So it does depend on the Lampard situation. If Lampard improves things quickly, then Chelsea Football Club may be convinced that Lampard has resolved all the problems. He's still the man to stick with. Okay, let's go and approach Declan Rice. But if results don't improve, this whole Declan Rice thing will go into the bin. It's as simple as that. But David Ornstein, who's, again, with The Athletic, very well-connected journalist, more of an Arsenal man, but he has his sources with Chelsea Football Club. He says this: Ornstein, when asked if Chelsea would still be in for Rice if Lampard is not in charge, truthfully, I don't know, but I suspect they wouldn't. This is a target driven by Lampard. Some at the club still have doubts, including paying such a high fee. And that's another thing with Declan Rice. He's going to cost a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, some have already been convinced that he is the man to go to because of Chelsea's midfield problems at the moment. And if we were to revert to a pivot in midfield where Kante has to play alongside someone, a lot are advocating for Declan Rice to be that guy. And I can understand why that would be the case. But there's also been a little rumour that Lampard wants to bring Declan Rice in to become a centre-back. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I hope not. He should be someone to be considered for defensive midfield. That's it. Or in a pivot, alongside Kante. That's the only way I would bring Declan Rice in. But if we talk about the whole Ornstein thing and the information that he's received so far, let's dig in a little bit more. Loads of other things in the video, including possible names like Tuchel, is known to be hard to work with across football. Nagelsmann, potentially, but no definite answer. Same with Hasenhüttl. Ones that do look unlikely would be Allegri and Rodgers. Haven't got the time to break it fully down, but there's potential hints from people inside football that Lampard has to be careful if he pushes for Rice because it could potentially contribute to his downfall given the board's reservations about Rice. The Athletic, Ornstein, think Declan Rice remains Chelsea's primary focus this month in terms of incomings, but that doesn't mean it will happen in January or in the future. So everything's touch and go at the moment. There's no definite answer, and as I've said, I truly believe that the Frank Lampard situation is the key thing to resolve first. Is he the man for the job? Are results going to improve? Will the board trust him? You know, we need results first. We need to beat Morecambe, we need to beat Fulham, we need to beat Leicester. Things calm down, the board go, okay, you know what, we might have things under control again. Okay, let's start going with Declan Rice. And I think that's going to be the way it is. Because if they go for Declan Rice, strike a deal, Lampard messes up, results go to the bin, we start losing every week, and then he leaves and we get Declan Rice, it'll be a mess. It'll be a mess. And for that much money, it's something that I'm sure Chelsea Football Club have to be very careful of. In terms of a solution, and in terms of Lampard finding something different, well, this is what I want to leave with you. I'm going to spend 2 minutes giving my opinion on a certain formation change and a certain area of the pitch that we need to drastically improve in, and that's midfield. Now, there's been rumours that Lampard is going to revert back to a 4-2-3-1 and abandon the 4-3-3. And in terms of bolstering up your midfield, I can understand that. But this is where I have my reservations, because we played with a 4-2-3-1 at the very beginning, if you remember. And it kind of worked until when it just looked like we stopped knowing how to play football. We went to a 4-3-3 and then that worked. And now that's gone into the pan. We're going back to a 4-2-3-1. So you got to ask, if we do that, who's playing in midfield? Because our midfield at the moment look completely absent. We don't have a midfield, as far as I'm concerned. That Man City game, we got exposed on a different level in midfield. I mean, even Kante looked like he didn't know what he was doing. And I refuse to believe that Kante does not know what he's doing. It's N'Golo Kante. He is a world-class midfielder, one of the best. We know this. For him to automatically, out of the sudden, just, I don't know what I'm doing, I refuse. No, I refuse. But he looked exposed, and it's starting to dawn on people that maybe he needs to play alongside somebody. Now, in a 4-2-3-1, that is the case. But that changes everything in midfield, because the 4-3-3 means we have one defensive midfielder and 2 eights. With a 4-2-3-1, we have no eights. That's it. It's gone. It's out of the window. We've got 2 in a pivot and we've got a number 10. Who's going to be the number 10? Everyone will tell you Kai Havertz is the man. And it's true. He is a number 10. I mean, that is his prime position. So Kai Havertz would automatically go into that role. Without question. And for me, he's the only man fit enough to be able to play there. You could argue Pulisic can come into the middle, Ziyech can come into the middle. Yes, and I believe they can play there. But Kai Havertz is that in and out number 10 midfielder. So that would be it. So who's the 2 behind? And this is where the dilemma is, because we've got a lot of midfielders and there's going to be a lot that ain't playing. Kante has to be one of them because it's Kante. It's just, and if we're advocating this formation, well, this formation helps him when he has someone next to him. And it would bolster our defence. Defensively against City, we looked all over the place. And in prior games as well, we looked exposed differently. In a 4-2-3-1, it does protect your back line. So, Kante, alongside who? And this is where we have options. Is it going to be Mason Mount playing in a pivot, which we've never done? But I can understand why his characteristics might suit the role. Full of energy, likes to be physical, can close down quickly, can pass a ball, because all you got to do in that position is make sure you're contributing to the attack and give it to the number 10 or a winger and let them do the job. After that, it's not your responsibility. So I think Mason Mount can do that, surely. Mateo Kovacic, we've seen him play in a pivot before. Has had good games, has had bad games. So it's a bit 50-50. Billy Gilmore. Billy Gilmore is the surprise one here. Billy Gilmore is the one that everyone seems to be saying, we got to go with him. And I can agree. He has many advantages to his play. And Billy Gilmore is someone that I think we can look at and go, he can pass a ball, he's got flair, he's intelligent on the ball, he can ping out a pass, whether it's long, whether it's through. He's got a very, very good footballing brain. The only disadvantage to Billy Gilmore is he's flipping tiny, man. He's smaller than Kante. I mean, we're going to have 2 little men as our pivot. It's just, can we survive with that? I'm not so sure. But Billy Gilmore, for me, should be on the pitch. Absolutely. So, I don't know. I'm going to leave that with you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with a 4-2-3-1? Would you go for a Kante, Billy Gilmore pivot? Kai Havertz as a 10? Would you stick Mason Mount in a pivot? Would you stick Kovacic there alongside Kante? I mean, let me know what you would do. I would love to hear it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit that notification button to be notified once I've uploaded. And I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new video. Thank you all so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Have a good one. Take care. And peace.